Thompson starts his Cadillac, winds it down the freeway track, leaving friends and neighbors in a hydrocarbon haze. He's joined by lots of smaller cars and sending gases to the stars. There to form a seething cloud that hangs for 30 days, and the sun licks down into it with an ultraviolet tongue. Turn till it turns to smog, and then it settles in our lungs. Garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up the skies with garbage. What will we do when there's nothing left to breathe but garbage? Getting home and taking off his shoes, he settles with the evening news while kids do homework with the TV in one ear, while Superman for the 1,000th time sells talking dolls and conquers crime. They dutifully learn the date of the birth of Paul Revere. In the paper, there's a piece about the mayor's middle name. Gets it done in time to watch the All-Star Bingo game. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up our minds with garbage. What will we do when there's nothing left to read, and there's nothing left to need, and nothing left to watch, and there's nothing left to touch, and there's nothing to walk upon, and nothing left to ponder on, and nothing left to see, and nothing left to be but garbage? Mr. Thompson's factory, they're making plastic Christmas trees, complete with silver tinsel and a geodesic stamp. Plastics mixed in giant vats from some conglomeration that's been piped from deep within the earth or stripped mine from the land. And if you ask them questions, they say, why don't you see? It's absolutely needed for the economy. Garbage, 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 garbage. Their stocks and their bonds are all garbage. What will they do when their system goes to smash? And there's no value in their cash. There's no money to be made, and there's a world to be repaid. Their kids will read in history books, financiers and other crooks, and feudalism, slavery, and nukes, and all their knavery. To history's dustbin they're consigned, along with many other kinds of garbage, 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 garbage.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you, Pete Seeger, for that song. Is that it, or you want another one?
Yeah, go ahead, if you don't mind, play one more.
I'm going to play a song I wrote with my friend Matt Turk. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. Ruled by fear, it's not enough. They gathered Tuesday night in the courthouse on the hill. They take their gloves off for the fight. On the stand there is a man who has traveled many miles to feed his family. He has risked his life. How did selling tacos on the street become crime? How do we get to peace on earth, goodwill to all? Peace on earth, goodwill to all. In the high school halls, they whisper words of judgment and contempt. She decides alone to face this, knows she'll feel regret. In a taxi after school, they are waiting on the street, screaming at the killer whose abortion they vow to defeat. How did love between two of our kids become a crime? How do we get to peace on earth, goodwill to all? Peace on earth, goodwill to all. He is standing on a corner in the frozen months alone, with a sign above his shoulder which says, "Bring the troops back home." No, inside his head he knows it is pointless to protest. He listens to his heart, moves his feet, and does his best. How did listening to your heart of hearts become a crime? And that's how we get to peace on earth, goodwill to all. Peace on earth, goodwill to all.
Thank you so much, Fred. We could not have a wassail without the music. So we really appreciate you joining us for that.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. Welcome to our December meeting of the Westchester Zero Waste Task Force. Let me put up some slides. So we have a special holiday edition this year, or this month. This is actually our 12th meeting, which I think is pretty awesome for having just started these in January. We have well over 300 people registered for these calls that have participated in one or more meetings over the year. So I think that's a really awesome show of people power that we have throughout the county. So I would like to invite you all to share in the chat your name, organization, and where you're joining from. And then our icebreaker question to share tonight is, what holiday or holidays do you celebrate, and what's your favorite tradition? Since it is a season with a whole bunch of holidays happening, and we figured we'd share those. But tonight's topic is really about having a zero waste holiday, because there is a lot of waste, fast fashion, lots of gifts that can't be returned. And so we figured this was a timely topic to have, and we've got several really knowledgeable folks on the call tonight who are really, stepping up to personally take action to really kind of help us create the circular economy that we'll need if we want to stop throwing stuff away. So what is WASSailing? I've heard, I knew about it, but then given that our acronym is WASS, I felt like it was kind of appropriate. So WASSailing is a 12th night tradition that has been practiced in Britain for centuries. It has its roots in a pagan custom of visiting orchards to sing to the trees and spirits in the hope of ensuring a good harvest the following season. During the visit, a communal wassail bowl filled with a warm spiced cider, perry, or ale would be shared amongst the revelers. So I don't have ale, but I do have coffee in my cup tonight. So I'm happy to join you all for this wassail tonight. So for those of you that might be new to WASS, WASS stands for Westchester Alliance for Sustainable Solutions. And we are an alliance of community organizations from throughout Westchester County, working to close the Wheelabrator trash incinerator in Peekskill, where the vast majority of the county's waste is burned. And that has a lot of negative health effects for the residents of Peekskill, for our planet, because it's the largest industrial source of greenhouse gas emissions in Westchester County, and for our pocketbooks, because trash incineration is really expensive. So what we're going to cover tonight is, one, I have an update for you on the county budget and our efforts to get funding for zero waste priorities. Two, we're going to take a quick action, which is sending an email. Three, we're going to have our waste-free holiday discussion. We have Joanne Boniello from Retake, Remake. We have Gal Yaguri and Elisa Zazara from the Hastings on Hudson Take It or Leave It Garage. And we have Rachel Fenty from the Buy Nothing, Cortlandt Manor, New York and surrounding areas Facebook group. And then we will close by inviting you all who are interested in getting more involved in WASS and our efforts and our strategy discussions to hop over to another Zoom where we're having our weekly core group meeting following this meeting. So, big announcement, big win, requesting internet high fives, is that after a year of advocating for Westchester County to fund a certified zero waste consultant to make us a zero waste plan to get off trash incineration, the 2024 Westchester County budget includes $90,000 earmarked in the Department of Environmental Facilities for a waste reduction study. So this is a really big win, and it means we can transition from pushing to get them to fund this to actually making sure it's a really good study and that the roadmap that comes out of it is actionable and really can move the needle on waste in Westchester County. So thank you very much to everybody who sent emails, signed the petition, spoke at one of the listening sessions or at the budget meeting this year or last year, because last year they said they could do it. They didn't put the fundings earmarked in the budget and we didn't get a study done. This year it's earmarked in the budget, so it's a really big step forward. And I'm very grateful to everybody because it really did. I think we did a really great job of keeping zero waste and sustainable waste issues at the forefront of a lot of discussions this year in Westchester. So our action item for tonight is going to be to email County Executive Latimer and your county legislator, whoever that is, and we're going to CC a few people. We're going to CC, Caitlin's going to drop that sample text link in the chat, so you can kind of just, all the email addresses are there, and the sample text that you can modify to suit you is at that link, and you can go ahead and I'll vamp a little bit and you can even send it right now while I'm talking about it. So we're going to email George Latimer, we're going to email your county legislator, we're going to email Peter McCart, who is the county sustainability director, and we're going to email Erica Pierce and David Imamura, who are county legislators that have been working hard and we've met with multiple times this year because they chair the relevant committees they're also working to push this forward. So we are going to send a thank you email to thank them for securing this funding and to encourage them to retain a certified zero waste consultant, because we really want someone that is going to align with our goal of shutting down the incinerator and ensuring clean air and environmental justice for Peekskill and all of Westchester County. And while there's sample text there, you can tell them a little bit about why it's important to you or why it's important to the people in your district to help them understand that this needs to be kept a priority. And then also let them know that you and WASS, this Zero Waste Task Force, are looking forward to working with them on this, because if we do this right, it will include the voices of the folks in the frontline community of Peekskill, but also throughout the county, to make sure that this is a solution for the people of Westchester and not just one that maybe works for the system as it is, or the kind of entrenched ideas about waste management. So Caitlin will keep dropping that link periodically if you need it. so that you can send those emails, because we really do want them to realize we're paying attention. We saw that funding. We think it's important, and we want it done and done right. So thank you all. Really big win and a great way to close out our year this year. So the other thing I mentioned was our WASS core team. So that's where we sit down and strategize. Like, oh, should we go to the budget meetings? How are we going to do it? Do we want to ask them, the county, to fund it? Should we do one ourselves? Those kinds of discussions and deep dives happen at our core team meetings, which are Wednesdays at 7:30, and we meet on Zoom, and we are meeting after this. So we'll put that meeting link in the chat when we're wrapping up. So if anybody wants to just hop over and join us, you are invited and very welcome to join us, because really we're to get this done, we're going to need everybody. Oh, and I saw Lila, Catherine Borgia is wrapping up, like she didn't run for re-election. So, but all of their emails are about the same. So it's like last name at whatever that is for Erica Pierce and David Imamura. So you can look at that. But yes, Catherine Borgia has been also really important, because she represents or used to represent the area that included the incinerator. So yeah, so we welcome you to join us. And, if you have efforts in your community that you'd like to make us aware of or want to coordinate with us on, then go ahead and join, because that's a great way to network with us. Our next meeting, we are meeting next Wednesday, and then we'll have a break for the holidays. So, oh wait, let me see. Let me go back here now. So I'm going to kick it over now. I'm going to stop sharing and allow Joanne Boniello from Retake, Remake to show her slides, and go ahead and present.
Okay. Can you hear me? Everything good?
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully I don't screw this up. So for those of you that don't know us, we are Retake, Remake, and we're here.
You didn't share slides yet, Joanne. We're not
Oh, I
seeing your
thought I
slides.
did. You don't see it?
No,
I'm sorry.
try again.
I'll try again. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Duh. How about now?
Now we see them.
Looks good. Got it. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we are a creative reuse facility, a shop, whatever you want to call it, and we're in the Hat Factory in Peekskill. This is our mission. I'm not going to read through everything, but basically we want to provide the community with a place to donate stuff that would have gone to the garbage, but also to buy very cheaply, to say that. So we like to be resources for artists and teachers and just about anybody that likes to do any kind of crafts or any sewing, anything you'll see. And ways to reuse. I think everybody on this call probably already knows ways to reuse. We incorporated in 2021. Barbara Corian, who was part of the materials for the arts down in New York City. She was an art teacher. She came up with this concept. She moved from the city during the pandemic and came up with this concept. And she actually did all this work, the 501c3, the New York Charities. And we opened for business February 19th, 2022. We did have the grand opening in April, which is, I think that was Earth Day in 2021. I think that's 2022. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's see. So these are some of the things that we sell. We have tons of material. We do sell that for $3 a yard, mostly, as all of us probably know, textiles are one of the biggest problems in the landfills. So, I'm sorry. I'm just not real technical with this. It's just more stuff. I don't want to be. We have tons of yarn that is just very economical for people. This is just some of our shoppers with some more stuff. Plenty of school supplies. Plenty of wrapping paper. We are opening on Sundays. We have one more Sunday left. And I have to say, we sold out, I think, of almost all of our Christmas wrapping paper. We had so much. I think we sold it for like $1.50 for a roll like that. Can never have too many stamps. I mean, there's so many stamps. These are just a few things, kind of crazy little things that we sell. Oh my God, Joanne. Sometimes weird things. You never know what you're going to find, and every week is different. We also have a free room for stuff that, we don't feel is sellable, but plenty of people come in and grab stuff. It's nice. It's nice to have that, even if it's just a half a piece of paper you need for something, but there's always something in there. So this is how it works. We've gone down to 1 day a month, the first Tuesday of every month. We have it 2 spaces really. So this is our number 10 space where we have donations. Someone is there to see the donation to make sure it is something that we take. And then we weigh the donations, and then I enter it on a chart. So everybody writes it down of what zip code you live in, because we want to keep track of that. So since opening in February 2022, we have over 32 tons of waste that would have gone into the waste stream. We know it's not landfill around here, but this is some of our top communities that we have. You see Peekskill right up there. We have like a lot, but it's not just from around here. So we have had people come to donate and to shop. This is just a few of the places that people will come from. So it's not just Peekskill and Cortlandt and Yorktown. So the other day we had a package arrive from Oklahoma City, and the woman mailed stuff because she didn't want to see it to go into the waste stream, and she doesn't have any place around her. So, I mean, it's a great thing. It's, we're using resources, but so anyway, this is what donation day looks like. And then this is one we open up on Friday. We're open Friday, Saturdays, and one Sunday left from 10 to 4. And with the volunteers, we're all volunteers. We get it ready for shopping. And when that door opens, and there's usually people waiting outside to shop, this is what the shop looks like. So we started out with 4 core volunteers. And we have more than, I think, 18 now. So it's pretty cool. Some of the things that we've done, we'll be there with a little arts and crafts for the kids to do, just to bring awareness to reusing, but, and also to our store, of course. We did, I'm sorry, this is just one of the events that we did. Usually we have stamps for the kids, stickers. Kids love stickers. Make a little card, maybe something like that. We also offer some classes, and we'll have, a volunteer usually run a class. This is just some of the stuff that we've done. And, this is what we're striving to get out to the community. We had a teachers event in September, and I think we're going to do another one in January, where if you just bring in your ID, we just had a room filled with supplies for teachers, and it was all free. We could do that probably 4 times a year and still have plenty of stuff to give away, because it's just crazy. But this is some of the places we're reaching out to. Sorry, I got to get my forward and backwards. So basically what's ahead, we want to increase store hours, maybe get staff, free supplies. Really, the community engagement's what's really important. And, of course, decreasing what's going into our landfill or in Peekskill into Charles Point. So basically that's it. I think I got it down there. So, but this is, if you want to go to, it's Retake, Remake, and it'll list on there when we're open, what you can and can't, donate. We don't take stuff that's from, like, that you would bring, let's say, household goods, clothes, shoes, stuff like that. We don't take that. We take stuff that, we do take jewelry and stuff. A lot of people make jewelry, so we take beads or broken jewelry. That's fine, really, because someone can take that and then use it to make something else. So anyway, I think I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne. All right, next up, I would like to welcome Gal and Eliza to talk about the Take It or Leave It garage and Bella Bosta. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you did. Good job.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having us again. We're super thrilled. We love WASS and have been following you guys admiringly since the beginning, since the big launch. And we're so grateful for your efforts and continued efforts. And thanks for letting us be here tonight. I will start with Balabusta because it's my baby that is continuing to grow with support from some members in this community and beyond. It's a service based company that offers home organization services with a distinct effort to support the goods that are removed from the client's homes in a zero waste and sustainable way. And so the twofold here that's relevant for you group is that this holiday, if you're still thinking about creative gift ideas for your loved ones, you could consider an experience instead of an actual gift, and purchase a gift certificate to a 2-hour session with yours truly or other members of the team who can come and help people who feel stuck or weighted by the volume of goods that they have in their homes and don't know where to start and feel stuck and frustrated and overwhelmed. And we can tackle that project together, decluttering and helping them sort through what's valuable and good for them now, and offer them a very precious promise that the unused goods that will be removed from their homes at the end of the session will not end up in any landfill or waste stream, one or another, but rather be processed very thoughtfully and either donated or consigned or upcycled or really properly recycled by our team. And then the other component of this service is really just managing those unused goods in ways that are environmentally friendly and conscious. And so with that in mind, oh, and just to say, I see the question, our services are offered in the entire tri-state area. We also offer virtual sessions nationally and internationally. I started this company 3 years ago, and a month after registering it, the pandemic broke. And so I got a really good, dive into the virtual world. And so really happy to extend the wisdom and idea of thoughtful purchasing or lack thereof, if possible, to anyone who's open to being a little bit more thoughtful in what they own and how they manage it. Out of this idea, which really I borrowed the term from a guest here on one of the WASS meetings. I consider myself an accidental environmentalist. And Caitlin, you might be able to help me remember who that was, but that was such a beautiful term that it stayed with me. I can come back to it. Okay. But really, the idea was born just out of providing the service of a home organizer and then recognizing that at the end of the session, I'm just going to leave people with all this stuff that they just deemed they don't want anymore. It just felt like an incomplete process. And that was when I started asking around the village of Hastings on Hudson, how do we recycle? How do we process various materials and goods? And very quickly, I was introduced to the lovely Elisa Cesara and was told I need to meet this brilliant woman who's been spearheading the Hastings Zero Waste Advisory Task Force and many other sustainable and environmental initiatives. And shortly, I want to say within a few short months, we were able to secure not just a shed, which normal Telias are. I think most of them are sheds which operate seasonally, spring through fall. And we got very, very lucky with the donation from Andrus on Hudson, which is a senior care facility that's based here in Hastings, and have given us a 2-bay garage. And we are operating it since April of last year. Every Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You could bring your unused goods, anything you don't need anymore and are ready to part with that is home, mostly home goods, and also take anything that you might need. The idea was to try and reduce consumption and bring awareness to, a circular economy, a community-oriented solution. And I don't know, Elisa, I'm happy to keep going, but I think if you're open to sharing a little bit more about the Take It or Leave It garage and what we offer and how it's been running, I think that would be great to hear from you.
Well, sure, I could let you go on for as long as you'd like. I'm here to, as I said, fill in with some sprinkles, but I'll give you a moment to catch your breath and take a sip. Yeah, so we had wanted to, at the Conservation Commission and the Zero Waste Group, have seen this idea of take it, leave it, put and takes. How do we do it? And Gal appeared, and got that going. As we know, having a space to do it is really important. And it's crowded every Sunday, it seems. It ebbs and flows. It feels like buses come up and deposit groups of people and they walk down with their goods. Sometimes I'm very happy to see people walk down with nothing in their hands. They're just coming to take. But it seems to have been going, we're not overwhelmed. There's a number of items that we don't take at all, like textiles, because it's not a climate controlled place. And books we don't take. And we will vet, as you do, Joanne, the items that come in. So there's an intake table. You have to get them vetted first, and all run on volunteers. And then we'll put them inside. We run into some issues where it gets very excited out in the parking lot area, where sometimes we can't even get it off the table before someone's saying, "Oh, I'll take that." So yeah, and it's amazing to see the volume of things. For me, it's been a wonderful meeting Gal and seeing her process in Balabusta. Also, if I may interrupt at the moment, Gal, can you share with us what Balabusta, where it comes from, what that word is?
Yes, it's a term of endearment from Ashkenazi Jews in the last century, referring to this mistress of her domain, this lovely homemaker, aka my grandmother, who would literally adorn, put on makeup and just lipsticks and do her nails, only to go into her own kitchen and cook and bake. She's a carer of the community, of the family. She brings people together and really enjoys and appreciates everything to do with the home.
I think that spirit is infused as you get to know Gal and see her work, to the concept of items, right? We have all of these things in our life. What is the value of them, and how will you value them in your world? And not to get too into the weeds, but we've been seeing some people come and just seemingly have no end to wanting to have things, and will fill their cars twice over in a Sunday. So we're on a bit of a learning curve to understand, we're going to put a limit on the number of items that you can take, with flexibility, of course, if someone has that 6th item that they really need. So that's an experiment and the next coming up. And as Gal said, because we have a garage, we can put some heat into it if we need to. We are able to be open year round, though that has been challenging the last 3 weeks because of the rain and holidays. We're not open on the holidays as well.
Yeah, and still, I think it's been amazing to see that the growth of the garage and the influx of people. We too have people standing up by the time we open in the morning to either drop off or take. And I would say the average number of patrons coming or dropping off or picking up is about between 120 and 150 on the average weekend. We have really been fortunate to be open year round, and 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the time to drop off and take. If you're still thinking, again, holiday shopping or any year-end needs, as you close out the year and start thinking about what you don't want, or whatever ugly sweater you need to offload. Specifically, sweaters are tricky for us. We don't accept textiles and we don't accept paper goods, because while we have been fortunate and have a garage that is somewhat weather resistant, it's not foolproof. And so those are the only 2 categories we would refer you elsewhere. But any household item, toys, puzzles, games, trinkets, yeah, Lisa, thank you for plopping that link, and you can see a detailed list. And I would say around this time of year, we certainly make exceptions to these rules and do take seasonal items. So we still have gift wrapping paper if you need it. We still have holiday decor, and we would love to see you all. Come take what you need this holiday season and drop off what you don't. We'll be there. And thank you again for the opportunity to highlight both of these lovely operations.
Well, thank you for, showing Westchester that these things can work. I think a lot of times people say it's not possible until you do it. And so I think that that's kind of your, not only with on the business side of things, but also like just in the community solutions way of getting that take it or leave it shed garage working up and running. So thanks so much to both of you. All right, with that, I'd like to kick it over to my neighbor, Rachel, who is one of the moderators of our local Cortlandt Manor and surrounding area Buy Nothing group, to talk about the Buy Nothing like as a movement, some of how it works, and probably some tips on how to find your local Buy Nothing. So Rachel, take it away.
So it's really cool that there's so many of our group members actually on this chat. So like I'm going through and I see so many names that I recognize that have been group members like Joanne for 7 years. So for me, this is not just a group that I moderate. This has become an extension of me. It's become, my community, my tribe. Yes, we have members that come, members that go, but we have a really strong core foundation of group members that have been around for a really long time, that they give, they receive, but they embrace the culture that is Buy Nothing. Buy Nothing isn't just a place to get rid of your stuff, right? It's a place to, create connections. And, I have people now that for the last 3 years, I know I just reach out to, and then they get all my boys' stuff that they don't wear anymore, right? So I have this network of people now. My group admins and moderators that are with me are so fully committed to the mission of Buy Nothing, which truly is creating this gifting economy. You don't have to go out and spend money. You don't have to go out and try to find stuff. It's there. People have it in their homes. They want to get rid of it. So just putting out that in search of really can be really helpful. So Buy Nothing has kind of taken a weird turn. So Buy Nothing, it was a national initiative by 2 women that essentially broke down into your local communities. They were exclusively on Facebook, and a couple years ago decided they wanted to go app-based because they wanted to monetize it. So we used to have like an admin team and like kind of like a person above me. That is no longer the case. We are self-sustained on our groups. So a lot of Buy Nothing groups have taken like this shift to becoming an accountability group or a gifting with integrity group, but the core values are the same. And it's it's gifting within your community. It's taking care of your neighbors. It's just being present in your community. It's really cool when I go out and I see people and they're like, "Oh, you're the lady from Buy Nothing," and you kind of have to like look at people through like a 2-inch square because like, oh yeah, you are her. So it's really a fun thing. We have done community events where people can just bring stuff, I guess very similar to your Take It or Leave It. I would love for us to be able to have a space here like that. But it kind of creates that sense of just being a neighbor and in community and just knowing what people need. We have a guy in our group that anytime somebody puts food up, he jumps on it. And it's so fun to watch him because he gets so excited over like cake, and I had this cake left over for my daughter's birthday. Nobody here wanted it. And I put it up. He was here for that cake in an hour. I would have thrown it in the garbage. Like, what would I have done with this cake? Right? Like, it was a beautiful dulce de leche cake. Apparently my family doesn't eat that. And he loved it. So, I 4 years ago would never have even thought to post a cake on Facebook, but he rushed right over here and, he picked up that cake and messaged me, that he loved it and he shared it with his family. And like, now if I have like leftovers, like he jumps on it. And it's just so fun that I know, we're just kind of creating this sense of just being a neighbor and just being kind and just spreading kindness and not really, just a place to list my stuff for free, right? Because we could do that anywhere. We could do that anywhere on Facebook. Hey, I've got this free dress, or somebody come and get it. But it's really, I know, going to my neighbors, it's going to people in my community that could really use it, and it stops it from hitting, the trashes. And I mean, I don't know in other towns in Westchester, but Peekskill's bulk pickup is for the birds. We get it like every couple months. They don't take everything. So, it's like, all right, well, what am I going to do with it? Well, now I have a solution. And the town of Cortland's great because they do once a year this, bring your stuff kind of take it or leave it kind of day. But that's not enough, right? It needs to be more frequent, and it needs to spread into multiple municipalities. The river market in Verplank, through the spring and summer, anytime we would want to do it, we can do it. They are more than happy to host us, but it's getting the bodies together to run it, to organize it. And as I'm sure those of you with the Take It or Leave It, it's a lot of work. And even for Retake, Remake, it's a lot of work going through the stuff. So, but when you have the commitment, it can really make a difference. I don't know if there is a Buy Nothing for Hastings. I know there's a few in White Plains. There's one in Scarsdale, Somers, Yorktown. Yorktown's actually part of the Cortland and surrounding areas, but Mayapack, Brewster, they all have their own Buy Nothing groups that are pretty active. Katona has one, and all of us admins. Buy Nothing River Towns. Okay, so you're a part of that group. So, and then River Towns but they sprouted. So now they kind of have two groups. a-WASSailing did the same, which, again, it's great. Like these are huge groups supporting your neighbors, and the River Towns one, that was pretty big. So I can definitely see why they chose to sprout. That's a pretty big territory. I also publish 2 Macaroni Kid websites in Westchester. I don't want to give a shameless plug here, but I would love to, if anybody has things they would like published, it's a weekly newsletter that goes out to parents. It's self-subscribed. But I would love to share anything that people are doing in their local communities, especially Retake, Remake, and your Take It or Leave It. We could definitely give like a monthly feature on what you're doing, because it might just give other people ideas too. Like, hey, maybe I should do this in my community. So if anybody wants to reach out, I'll drop my email in the chat, and I'm happy, obviously at no charge, to publish anything you want published.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So I definitely want to open it up to questions. I'm sure people have some that didn't that. It's hard for some of the speakers and presenters to see the chat. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I know I was recently at Retake Remake for for one of the craft nights for that little pumpkin that Joanne showed a picture of, and I was not a good crocheter. I was remedial, but my daughter loved it. Okay, so and then Leola has a comment. Please don't let the food of any kind in the trash. Donate edible food, bring non-edible to food waste drop-off, or put in backyard compost for sure. So I know we've got a lot of folks on this call who either do compost in their own yard, or like Sue got a pilot program for curbside food scraps recycling, and we've got other folks that are looking to put that out. Any other tips for your zero waste holiday? I know I am sourcing poker chips. My son got into poker, so I'm sourcing poker chips to give him for Christmas. And somebody in the Buy Nothing group is going to be getting roller skates because my daughter found her old roller skates and they're barely used. So I'll post those on there. So I definitely try to hit up the Buy Nothing groups. First, got a candy thermometer actually earlier this week instead of buying one.
I was with my hairdresser today, and she is pretty much gifting her girls 90% of the gifts for her girls will be from Buy Nothing, and it's all great quality stuff that just people wanted out of their homes, and she's happy to take it into hers. So I mean, if we can, we're giving kids a pretty cool Christmas, and it's helping mom save money, and it's keeping stuff currently.
Right. I mean, because I think that's what a lot of people run up against is, and a lot of times stuff's not high quality. So like my husband took the kids back to school shopping, and they did go to Walmart for a lot of stuff. And then like within the first week, the binder broke. And so I was like, forget it, no more Walmart. And we went to Retake, Remake, and we got one that probably held manuals at IBM for 50 years and is still in perfect condition, wearing like iron.
I was just gonna say, Retake has so many.
Yep. And so it's surviving to this day. That's what she's using. So I see Sue has her hand up, and then Terry. Sue, go ahead.
Well, kudos to everybody who spoke about everything. It's terrific that the technology now is such that you can organize these things online. You know, we used to have used clothing stores for kids that we use, but it doesn't. But I wanted to say that my daughter lives over in Eastchester, and when her kids grow out of clothes, they have a neighbor's exchange. So I guess that's like a buy nothing. However, I wanted to give those clothes that my grandchildren grew out of to children who really didn't have a lot of clothes. And this is kind of a dilemma because like there is a kid's closet in Yonkers where mothers and dads can just go in and pick out whatever they want. And I thought that would be a good place to donate clothes. And I'm just saying this because think about it. It's great to share with your neighbors. Yes, that's great. But there's also a lot of other need out there. And like in Yonkers, there's hand-me-downs and then there's hand-me-downs. So I'm throwing that out there. I think what you're doing is great, but I also think that, you know, if you can find places to donate it that are much more in need, I would encourage that. So that's all.
One of the things, I don't know, maybe Rachel wants to respond to it, but I know our admins were just posting about this in the Buy Nothing group, which is like, because sometimes people say like, you know, prefer if it goes to a family in need, but then you're like putting someone up to have to be like, I'm super poor, or I lost my job, or whatever. So, you know we've got folks in need in our community, and they're definitely can get stuff.
We are a gifting economy with no strings attached, right? So, however, the moderators and admins of our group, we have a pretty good pulse on our group members, and we know who our group members are that are in need, and we will get private messages. You know, I just lost my job. I'm taking care of my 2 elderly parents now. You know, and it's you know, we keep that in the back of our minds. We do know. And then what we also do is, you know, let's say somebody was getting rid of clothes and nobody picked it up. So I will privately reach out and say, hey, I know where we can donate that. And because of my macaroni kit connections, I have connections with the Y and White Plains. And so I can pick stuff up and bring it down. So we, you know, we gift locally first. We gift with no strings attached, but we are cognizant of who's in need and who does need what. And we also want to make sure we're not also overwhelming families in need. So, you know, it always happens. A local family, the house burns down, right? The initial knee-jerk reaction is let's collect for them. Well, most of the time they have no place to put it. They don't know how to sort through it. So, you know, we take that kind of step back and say, okay, well, how can we support you in the immediate? You know, so where we do try to obviously make sure that we're taking care of the people who need it first. You know, we are a no strings attached gifting economy.
Thanks, Rachel. Terry, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
You're muted, Terry.
Still muted.
It's so weird. I had unmuted myself at the beginning. Sorry. Just kind of a warning. Now that we have a granddaughter, we have been giving her a bunch of old toys and our son's old toys that are in good condition. But my son just sent us an article about hazards of plastic toys from the 70s and 80s. And apparently there's not a lot of research on this, but there are a few papers, and apparently a lot of those polyvinyl and non-polyvinyl toys contain heavy metals that apparently can leach out. So this is very disappointing, but I guess we're not going to be doing that anymore. So that's just one word of warning, and it's very frustrating because a lot of these toys are in perfectly good condition and they're not even that worn whatever. Of course, these don't talk about what hazards there might be in today's plastic toys, but I just thought I would pass that on.
And you saved it all this time.
Yeah, I know. It's, as I say, extremely frustrating.
All right. Any other questions?
Courtney, I should do a tiny plug.
Oh, right, and do
for-
the
yeah.
thanks, Caitlin.
Alex Jagiello is the program specialist for compost operations at Compost Ed, and he just wanted to send along the message about Christmas tree recycling. He said it's always best practice if folks are diligent about removing all non-organics from trees. He emphasized that tinsel, lights, plastic contamination of any kind seems to be the biggest challenge in terms of composting and mulching the trees properly. So I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here, but the choir can sing to other people, okay? And get that message out. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Sure.
Susan, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to share this really good news. We're doing the composting in Yonkers. And so I just got we're up to over 15,000 pounds, but I got an email from the Department of Public Works saying that in the spring, they will be delivering the results of our composting efforts back to us for our community garden. And it was just like, wow, that's really, we didn't expect that, but it's good. And it was very well received because we do have an adjacent community garden to our building. So I think that's something for us all to shoot for. That is just very exciting. We paid a lot of money for dirt when we started that garden. So I think we're saving.
That's awesome. Yeah. So for folks who don't know, you can go back and watch our October, I think it was October, Zero Waste Task Force meeting. Sue spoke about the efforts in Yonkers. They wanted to do a pilot program, and she was instrumental in getting her building and several other buildings to be the collection spots for a curbside compost food scraps recycling effort. And so I think it was just a perfect example of, folks going back into their own communities and making it happen. Because a lot of times we hear about how things aren't feasible, but then we've got folks like Sue and Rachel and Gal all showing that it is doable. You just need to want to. So, all right. I think if there's no other questions, I'm going to share once again this slide and maybe ask Caitlin to pop the link for our meeting into the chat. So if you are interested, if you want to join the core team and be, build what we're doing here with WASS. And, we are an organization, like an alliance of organizations. So, it doesn't have to necessarily be you. If you want your organization to join us, someone can come to the meetings. It doesn't have to be you personally, but you can either join us. Caitlin's dropping the link to that Zoom meeting in the chat. You can just mention in the chat that you'd like to be added to the email list to get those weekly invitations, or you can reach out at our email, wasspeekskill@gmail.com, and we can get you on that list. So while we keep these ones to 1 hour, those ones can run over. Sometimes they're more like 2 hours. but we get a lot done. And it's how we come up with the ideas and plan these events that we have. And really, it's how we were able to mobilize everybody to get that $90,000 for that study. And I'm certain it is how we are going to make sure that that study is is our tax dollars well spent on a plan that's going to really move us forward, and make this a much more sustainable waste management system, a much more equitable system, that is going to really make Westchester, kind of plan ahead, because that trash incinerator, it is turning 40 in January. It will have its 40th birthday, and that makes it, I think, tied as the oldest trash incinerator in the country. And we are deluding ourselves if we think it's going to last forever. So the time to be planning to not need it anymore is years ago, but at the very least right now. So we welcome you all to join our meetings. And certainly we know folks aren't free every single week, but we really, this task force has accomplished so much this year. All kinds of resolutions passed in different communities, these compost, expansion of food scraps recycling, curbside compost, all of these things that we have gotten done basically just because people stepped up and did it. So it would be great to have more of you join us. And oh, yes. And there's a comment in the chat. Is that how many years Westchester has gotten an F for air quality? Yes, we get a failing grade from the American Lung Association for ground level ozone, which is really comes from particulate matter and from air pollution. And given that Wheelabrator is the largest industrial air polluter in Westchester County, and the breeze doesn't know to keep the pollution in Peekskill, it is a part of why we have the air quality that we have. So we're doing great work here. Thanks to all of you. And I hope everybody has a great holiday, a zero waste holiday. And I'm sure hopefully you get good presents, and Retake, Remake, Buy Nothing, and the Take It or Leave It garage in Hastings won't be overwhelmed with your donations after Hanukkah and Christmas are over. So thank you all so much for coming out, and have a good holiday. And those of you that are bouncing over, we will be opening that meeting shortly. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much.
Courtney.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you to
one.
our speakers and our performers.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Right.